Alright, cool. I'm creating this video for two or three reasons. The first reason is I meant to actually create one more video before I left home, and I didn't expect to be here right now. When I say here, I mean uptown Charlotte. Typically, if I'm in Charlotte, or if I'm in Charlotte, 9 times out of 10, I'm at the airport going to or from someplace, and it just happens to be a layover. But yeah, since I didn't make a video before I left out the house, I can get back more into that in a second. I figure I'd make a video now, only because I have nothing but time to kill between now and when the first bus leaves back to the airport. Right now it's 12:34. Just looking at the schedule, I got maybe 4 or 5 hours before the next bus leaves uptown Charlotte and heading back toward where I catch my flight. So yeah, I'm trying to find ways to pass the time now that I've I wasn't going to get into the third reason why I was making this video, but I was at the I forgot what you call it, like the CTC, Charlotte Transportation Center, I believe the acronym is, but the bus dropped me off there. I was somewhat familiar because I passed by it once before, but I had no idea what I was going to do. I remember I had to face this decision before. It was a little colder. It wasn't spring yet, but anyway, I decided to just stick around in the airport and just stick around, get on the internet. I got kicked out into baggage claim, that particular area. I didn't really want to relive that experience of just, watching non-stop YouTube videos, so I decided to come out here. But, so, I was explaining how I was by the transit center, and basically, I didn't know which direction I was going. I know I was walking in one direction because I had to, take a piss, in public, but not publicly as far as, exposing myself, or even better yet, I didn't want to give cops a reason to send me to the Mecklenburg County lockup. So after I took care of one thing, I was making a few phone calls. I called my mom. I was speaking with my brother, but maybe I'll get into that later on. But anyway, I was walking the opposite direction where I first started, trying to find a spot, and then I find this place. I mentioned a tweet that I was in Coconut Grove in Miami, and there was a spot just like a lot of it was more of a family-friendly atmosphere as far as the crowd is concerned. I say family-friendly because I saw a lot of kids look like they were still in high school. But I bring up Coconut Grove because I went to this place across from the transit center, and I didn't really expect to see girls in tight dresses, or typically every city has a place where there's bars and clubs that's centralized in one area, so I didn't expect to run into it quite easily, or more so people, all the females in tight skirts going up the stairs to get their drink on, or get their dance on. And one of the reasons I'm making this video is because I made a tweet about starting to something to act like my age as opposed to my shoe size, being mature enough not to sort of at one point it would have been natural. Now it's sort of something I tell myself I'm not getting any younger, but at the same time it's just I felt the need to hold some restraint, and it's just issue I've been working on, and it's as many L's as I have, I can take one W as in win, as far as doing what I want to do, as opposed to things I might reflect on Sunday morning going to church. So the last reason I wanted to make this video was because I've been having some connection issues, and I really thought it was actually the computer, and it still might be, but right now I'm almost 5 minutes into this video, and there's no disconnects of any kind. So I'm glad about that. Going back to the first reason, the reason why I wanted to make a video before I left home was I made about a series of maybe anywhere from a dozen to 2 dozen videos. Actually, more than that, considering like the videos that were disconnected, videos that I intentionally ended at the 5-minute mark, because the last thing I wanted to do is start talking about something and then lose my train of thought because of the video cutting off and asking me to reconnect. So wow, it's interesting how I lose my train of thought for a second. Someone just came out of a building, and the last thing I want to perceive is me just talking to myself. But in any case, I just remember where I was getting at. The reason why I wanted to make that one last video before leaving home was like the quality of most of those videos. I guess there may be I would say at least half a dozen may have been suitable to where I was comfortable making a video public on YouTube, as opposed to keeping my videos private unless I review them and then make them public. So so far, I mean, not that this policy is working against me or for me in any way, but I know it's not in my best interest to have some of those videos still be out there. But in any case, I just wanted to sort of, not to make like one last video to the easiest way I could say is this: there's times where I made video after video and I didn't know when to stop, or I may just make one video and just feel like shit about it, and then just quit making any more videos thereafter. But since I first started doing this, well, I started doing it I made a video of my niece I mentioned before, and I may have just sort of taken off from there, and then it stopped. And I mentioned again in another video where this woman I met in Spain asked me to play something on my guitar, and I would say the spew of videos that came after that was under the assumption of basically, okay, I can explain it best in a story where this dude is talking with this chick. I don't know whether it's Snapchat or some form of what AOL Instant Messenger evolved into. But anyway, they're talking on whatever app they're using or website, and they're talking for 4 hours, and then they decide to exchange pictures, and once he shows her his picture, then the conversation abruptly ends. And for a while I thought, between making that video or maybe making 1 or 2 videos thereafter, basically after I did make that one video and put it on their Facebook, instant message, I mean, I've since heard from her once. I made a comment about something I saw, and then she clicked the like button. Other than that, it's just, as much as I want to sort of initiate the conversation again, part of me is trying to save, not save, but hold on to some shred of dignity, where I don't know, this sort of, I kind of sabotaged it in one way or another and sort of talk my way out of it. But going back to saving myself some shred of dignity, but sometimes you sort of I mean, I may have read a little too far into it, but whether I did or not, I didn't really want to start initiating something that's already I didn't really want to beat a dead horse. That's where that was coming at. But those series of videos, that was just the product of one of the ways I was sort of venting. Between that and just sometimes when you start doing something, somebody else just walked by, but sometimes when you start doing something, I can comfortably say that, I've mentioned I make these videos for myself, but speaking as someone who's been in therapy a few times, that's a understatement, but sometimes you can just like sit there and then just, there's times where you don't have to pay someone to do this for you. When I say you, it could be you or your insurance. And just talk for an hour, and then the same way, writing therapy, they call it, cathartic, or I'm not really a psych major, but just talking, and like the more you talk, the more it's kind of easier than doing it in your head. Or I guess if you're somewhat labeled 730, it might be healthier to vocalize some of your thoughts, as opposed to having things build up to where your thoughts become unhealthy. There's times where I may tweet something, or there may be times where I use this expression a lot, up shit creek with no paddle, and it's just one way or another it's going to come out, whether you're thinking it or not, or whether you don't want to think about it, whether you talk about it, whether you talk to yourself or with someone else, or just talking to yourself in the form of having a webcam that you publish, and basically I don't know. I went into monetization, and this not being one of my goals with this, but yeah. At this point, I got how many hours left? It's 12:45. It's about to be 1 o'clock, and then I got a cop sitting next to me. But in 4 more hours, I'm pretty sure I can find some time. I made a tweet about how much fun it was finding a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and as soon as my battery dies, I'm going to have even more fun actually finding a outlet that's public, that I can use, that's attached to a building, or I'm sure I could find something. But right now, or even a restaurant or a Starbucks, or before I leave from this particular Wi-Fi spot, I'll try to find some type of 24-hour place that I can kill two birds in one stone. Right now I got too many people walking past me, and I don't want to seem strange talking to myself, so if I make another video, it'll be another video. But this one, it's pretty much over, and I'm signing out. Hopefully, before I leave, I'll probably sum up my experience here in downtown, or in this case, uptown Charlotte. I was going to write about it for sure. It might be a little easier to talk about it, even though after saying that's all ended, I mentioned if I had a camera, I would definitely be busy just following the skyscrapers and following the lights, and just taking pictures. And this city isn't really a big city as far as given the time frame that I have, I can comfortably walk around this section of the city that has skyscrapers, and not break a sweat. But it's not like New York. It's not like I don't know. I guess Washington D.C. It's sort of a similar experience. My sister was telling me it's not that big, but any city that has like a metro or subway system, Charlotte doesn't. So yeah, even though there's nobody walking around right now, I'm just gonna bullshit on Reddit, maybe bullshit on YouTube, or perhaps make the most of the I'm gonna check something right here. I got 2 hours left on my laptop, so not to say I got better things to do than sit here and talk to a webcam, but for right now, if you do see another post uploaded on Twitter, that means I decided not to take advantage of this unfiltered Wi-Fi that I can access X videos, but I'm not gonna that's not gonna be my agenda for the night. There's a particular reason why I chose not to stay at the airport and be in front of the computer. That's something that like when I get to Gainesville, there's like almost nothing to do there, or at least like if you don't have a car and like you're stuck and stranded, and it's just, I mean, I used to, I was 10, roughly like, you know, I would say 12 years ago, I was 45 minutes away from here, and I never thought I would sort of be back here, sort of clinging to like any other place I'd rather be. But I mean, given a choice between like, you know, where I am right now and, you know, the outskirts of the Gainesville Regional Airport, where I'm actually like where I am, I could walk to from the airport. I'm just going to spend not the next 2 hours, but between now and my flight, I'm just going to, you know, take it all in the best I can, and maybe not go on Reddit, not go on YouTube or any place else I typically, you know, it's time for me. At some point, I'm just going to disconnect and not have an internet connection. I mean, I would only have a computer and the capacity to, it's easy to say jerk off, but, you know, actually write. And, you know, if I spend half as much time doing what I just mentioned as opposed to what I want to be doing, sort of like Henry David Thoreau, I would probably have more books than Stephen King published. I probably have more books than, you know, any, I don't know, I'm thinking of, you know, people who's J.K. Rowling, you know, anyone who's written a series of books, not combined, because there's people who live to, like, you know, write book after book, or George R.R. Martin. This is a totally different tangent. I probably, you know, as soon as I finish making this video, I'll probably tweet it. But after watching Fast and Furious 7, and with this Terminator Genesis movie coming out, and I've only seen 2 episodes of Game of Thrones in its entirety, but I just felt that the show was producing what's the word I was looking for? Something along the lines of Fat Factory, women who I've never, you know, never heard of before, but for one reason or another, you know, I could say I forgot the woman's name, but she's the one starring in the new Terminator movie. I guess that was one of the main reasons why I was drawn towards watching that show, as opposed to like the other chick that was in Furious 7. I never seen her before. All I know is I sort of did like a simple search, and I kind of got more than I bargained for thanks to the show. I had a similar experience. I was watching Girls, and like I was, you know, this one, maybe an advertisement, but anyway, I actually watched not the whole episode of Girls, but the particular scene, and then I watched like an opening scene from another episode, or I don't know how, you know, Cupid's arrow hit, but the point I was trying to make was, I guess, you know, sometimes like you find out a woman's name, and then of course that question comes into your mind as far as like, so like, you know, I mean, what has she put out there? And then sure enough, I mean, it's you know, the search is easy enough where you don't have to look beyond the show that sort of made them famous to actually, you know, see what you wanted to see. So yeah, I got 2 people walking past, and I sort of went into a tangent that I would rather talk about on Twitter than here. So yeah, I'm gonna get my mind off of Game of Thrones. I'm gonna get my mind off of Girls, the people featured on them, the girls that's like, you know, dressing up in tight skirts and like going to those bars and clubs that I pass by, and I'm gonna, like, you know, put my mind on, you know, enjoying the skyscrapers that, you know, I may not see for a month. There's, as far as skyscrapers, there's non-existent in Gainesville. There's a small chance I may make my way to Jacksonville. That's why I was trying to communicate with my brother. He's got some female company, he says, so you know, call me back before he goes to sleep. But I think we both know it's not going to be until the morning. But yeah, given the fact that I'm not going to be like in any sort of city atmosphere, and when I say city, I kind of, when I first went to Gainesville, there was I was coming from Ocala, and yeah, in many ways it seemed bigger with the fact that it had an airport, and it had another, the downtown area actually confused with the University of Florida with, the layout of everything, but yeah, after, and I've talked about this before, I'm at the junction, especially after talking earlier with someone today about a situation I'm faced with. Right now, it's time for me to spread my wings, or at least like from my current living situation, and I can go more into about like trying to find a balance between not getting into debt and things that I got planned between like the summertime and the fall. But yeah, I'm just going to yeah, it's 21 minutes. The last thing I'll say, and this time I actually mean it, I actually made a video that was almost 2 hours, if not 2 hours, and it wasn't the most perfect video by far, but I will say like the next challenge is actually like making another 2-hour video where I'm just full-blown mania. For those of you who are lost, that's a reference to manic depression, and I don't know whether it's going to be under the influence of alcohol, or it's not going to be, I could tell you right now, it's not going to be under the influence of marijuana, because there was a point where it went from entertaining the thought to actually being in that mind state, and yeah, I was just asking myself to make a video that was going to be not only not public, but not deleted, or deleted, rather. So, yeah, I said like a few seconds ago, the video was going to end, so yeah, not that I want to end it, but this night is still young, and I plan to, see it through, or at least the best way I know how. Alright, signing out. Peace.